So we're doing a hybrid today. So there's some people joining us online and then here in the office. So that's why I have my little headset on. But I will be answering questions at the end. So just hold on. I hope that each slide will kind of build up on each other and you'll have a lot more information with them. So please definitely let me know if you want me to pause on any slides, any questions. Again, just keep a note of them for the very end. For everyone online, can you please confirm if you can hear me? Hoping everyone can. If someone wants to, perfect. Thanks, guys. All right, so let's get started with all of this. On this side here. So my name is Gabby. I am one of the homeownership specialists here. So I work on a daily basis with clients and getting prepared for either home ownership, trying to apply for a mortgage loan. Maybe someone's already a homeowner needing to refinance or improve credit in general. It could even be someone who's a senior pursuing a reverse mortgage. I'm a reverse mortgage counselor as well. So, little information there. So our agency, again, VCCDC, we've been here since 2001. Our mission is primarily to help families and individuals to ideally stabilize their financials, whether that's pursuing homeownership or through education. So just to confirm, we have our fair lending and housing disclosure here. So again, because this program is connected to a loan, we want to make sure you guys are aware that we do follow the regulations that we have here. So our general services, we do have 3 pillars. Our first one being education. So we do offer home buyer education classes. If someone's trying to buy a home and not really sure exactly where things are, that class gives you a first set of stepping stones. What is the whole process of purchasing like? We also offer what we call post-purchase, but also we call it our home smart classes. And these are individual topics, vary greatly in topics. It could be wills and trusts, home maintenance, general credit 101. We've also had like the myths with Medi-Cal and home ownership and how it affects it. So our post-purchase workshops really do vary in topics themselves. Our coaching services, that is again where my role stands. And this is where we're meeting either with individuals trying to pursue buying a home or someone's trying to stabilize their financials that's already a homeowner. We also offer then reverse mortgage counseling, that one's specific for anyone 62 and above. And then our lending team, which part of my team is behind me here, one of them. So our lending team is here to assist with first mortgage financing as well as down payment assistances and refinances. So we definitely do the whole circle there. So our program today, I'm sure a lot of you guys got emails, maybe a little bombarded by then. But our program is focused to help establish a foundation of good money habits. That's one of our main focuses. We know, especially right now with all the inflation and high cost of living, it's hard. It's hard to manage everything, but we want to try and create some habits, give you guys some tools through a financial coaching program that's being integrated. Our primary focus will be on unbanked and underbanked households. So by definition, someone who's unbanked is someone who does not have a checking or savings, any kind of relationship with a bank. Whereas someone who is underbanked might have a checking or a savings account, but they also rely on payday loans, money orders as their way to pay. It could be other financial services like money lending from individuals who charge you interest. Come across those. So it's a section of our population that we definitely want to target. And so if we see on the graphic here on the side, it's about 34% of our population here that is falling in between those two. So we want to close this gap. That's another big focus. And through hopefully accessing the small loan, we can help build both of those things, banking relationships and hopefully stabilizing the financial picture.
Is that Ventura or national?
This one, the graphic was national for the United States. And this was based on a 2021 study that was done. So what are the benefits of our financial coaching program? So number one is having a financial coach. So we are, myself and actually my partner Crystal and our other team members who do the facilitation of workshops, we are HUD certified. So what that means as under the Housing and Urban Development in the United States, we go through a process of different educational courses so that we're well informed about pre-purchase, trying to buy fair housing regulations, home preservation, budgeting and credit, and even fair housing. So if someone's a renter, and what are their protections that they have. We also provide you with the tools that are needed. So how can we improve our credit? How can we actually erase the negative information that might be there? How can we create a budget? So we try to give you those tools that you can use, not just now, but the long run. And then just, again, the future is what we're looking for, to be able to create these habits of being able to manage the financials in a better way, and being able to, again, use those tools moving forward. All right, so what are the components of our, oh, there we go, third one. What are the components of the AHEAD program? So first things first, our funding is limited, so the application is on a first come, first served basis. We are going to be providing loans of up to $2,500, where there is a specific term based on how much you request and are receiving. So if it's $500 to $999, it's a 6-month, 12-month term to pay it back. If it's $1,000 to $1,499, then you have 18 months. And then $1,500 to $2,500, 24 months. So in thinking of that term, if we just take at least the $500 amount and we're dividing that over a 12-month term, that's, you'd have to be able to make a $42 payment at minimum. We're going to get into more specifics, but that's just like basic amount. So separate from the loan, we're also going to have 4 workshops, specifically on, again, establishing good financial habits. These workshops are going to be tailored to credit, budgeting, action planning, and banking tools. And those 4 classes will be a requirement. These are our tentative dates so far. So 1 every month starting in December. And usually they'll be held, it's going to be a Tuesday from 6 to 7. So we're looking if it's going to be in person or virtually. We're going to be sending out a little bit of a survey to all the participants and kind of figuring out which one the majority will prefer. The class dates are subject to change. We hope not, but they could, just depending on how schedules can change. We also will require a minimum of 2 one-on-one appointments with either myself or my partner, Crystal, to actually figure out what are your goals. What do we want this money for? What does the budget look like for your household? Can we afford the repayment plan? We want to make sure and start with our first appointment to assess that. And then if we need to work to figuring out how to create these better habits, that's where our follow-ups would come in. At minimum, we want to meet at least on a quarterly basis with at minimum 2 appointments. Minimum, again, are important. Any questions so far about this screen? So I know this one's a big one.
Are those classes and meetings?
No, it will just be all 3 will be kind of happening simultaneously. So you would receive your loan essentially once we figure out if you're eligible and approved for the program, you would receive the loan funds. Shortly thereafter, we would have at least our first appointment, if not our first class. And that's where kind of things get started. But everything will happen simultaneous where you're making your payments at the same time as you're attending workshops and meeting with us.
Right. And obviously you both do report to credit agencies, right?
Say that again?
You report payments to credit agencies.
Got it. So at this time, we don't have a partner bank that is allowing us to actually report the payments. We're working on it. So we're hoping that through our lending team, we're going to be doing the actual recording of all the payments. And if we can partner with a bank that would allow us to do that, then we are able to then report the payment history. But as far as with credit for us, one of our focuses in our one-on-one appointments will be kind of figuring out where credit is and how can we improve it. So that will still be a focus for us. All right, so loans in themselves. Like I said, the loan will be dispersed once applicants are selected. The loan will have to be paid. Your monthly payments are due the 5th of every month. And the payments can be done either by mail or in person via a personal check or debit card transaction. So again, it's the 5th of the month. No cash will be accepted, nor money orders. Has to be either a check or using a debit card. There again is a maximum loan term of 24 months, and it's based on how much funding you receive. Like I showed in the previous slide, shows you those amounts differing. There will be interest included in your payments at a rate of 5%. So that calculation I did of a $500 loan and a $42 payment is not exact. So I'm not factoring in that 5% rate, which again, we will let you know exactly how that corresponds to your payments. But assuming that you fulfill all the components, making your payments on time by the 5th of every month, attend the 4 workshops, and complete at least the 2 minimum appointments, but again, they're quarterly. So if someone has a 24-month term, we're going to be meeting quarterly, so every 3 months. But assuming we actually go through all the components, then that interest that you had paid, we will actually be giving it back to you as a refund. So that this loan then becomes a 0 interest loan. So as long as we take our workshops, the 4 of them, meet with me or Crystal, and make your payments on time, then all that interest is given right back to you. All right. So how do we actually qualify for the program in itself? So number 1, you do have to be a resident of either Ventura or Santa Barbara County. Our, again, primary focus is unbanked and underbanked applicants. They would be the first priority that we would have to go through. There is an income limit of 80% is the maximum income allowed, which I will show in a second. And we will be pulling a credit report. And what we're looking on the credit report is to demonstrate a clear pattern of financial responsibility. So it could have been that in the past, there was some negative information on credit, but since then, things have recovered. We want to be able to see that consistency in actually being able to borrow, repay, borrow, repay. And then the proof of ability to actually make a loan payment, having at least 6 months on the job. And then looking at how much do you owe compared to your income, your gross income. We want to be below the 48% that's created there. Just again, because we don't want to overextend you guys on a loan that might be getting into default situation. So this is the income chart that we're working with. So depending which county you're located in and the household size that you fall under, this would be the maximum gross income allowed for the household. So I'm going to take a quick pause on this, and I'm going to go to these questions. All right. So there was one question on our webinar about the interest rate. So again, that's at 5%, but the interest that you pay would be refunded assuming you fulfill the 3 components. Anyone want to say the 3 components?
Shop.
Yes, pay on time, do the workshops, meet with me. Perfect. Can the one-on-one appointments be during daytime? Actually, yes. So our appointments will be in regular business hours. So our offices are open from 9 to 6. Usually the earliest we can do would be about 9:30, and the latest we could do would be about 4:30 at most. Can this be paid sooner? So yes, it can be repaid sooner. So we know we have 24-month term maximum, but it can be done sooner than that. Again, it just depends on exactly how the budget might be looking. So again, that's part of our focus in meeting together. Can we make those payments sooner? We do want at least a 6-month term so that we get that 2 appointment minimum. So at least within 6 months, we want to have that be our minimum. But yes, they can be paid back sooner.
Will there be online capabilities to make payments?
We're working on that because, well, no, actually through our, so the capability to make payments online, we're working through our service because there's a fee connected to that. So how can we avoid either you guys having to pay that fee, or in this case, can there be a way that the system allows us to take that fee on? So we're figuring that part out for online payments. Yes.
Question. So if you don't qualify for the loan, you can't take the workshop or the crystal?
No, our workshops, so if you don't qualify for the program, you can still attend any of the workshops. We will be opening it up to our public. So anyone will be able to attend. Participants in the program will be required to attend. That's what we keep track of everyone who comes in. Our one-on-one appointments, whether it's for trying to purchase as a homeowner, or even reverse mortgage, those are open also to the public. That one's not specific.
This chart is also the same numbers.
So this chart, yes, is the same chart that's used for the low income assistances. So there's a different chart for some of the programs are for moderate income or high income. So those are different amounts, but this would be for our low income assistances. Yeah. For the 6-month history of employment, it can be self-employed, it can be W-2. Either one will be fine as long as we do have the ability to show that proof. Not saying. So application process. So the applications can be submitted starting November 1st, 9 a.m. We do have printed applications here that you can pick up, but it is also found on our website following this link. And so if you are doing it online, you have the ability to submit it at any point in time before November 1st, but we will find those that submit it prior to November 1st as ineligible. So it's very important. You want to wait until November 1st, 9 a.m. to then click submit. So you're able to start the application, upload personal documents, which I'll share in a second, and then click save for later. And then you'll get an email with a link to follow to actually pick up where you left off and officially submit after November 1st, 9 a.m. I know, a little bit of a complicated situation there, but unfortunately, online capabilities are limited here. You can also come to our office if you're more comfortable with that. Right back here, we'll be starting to accept them again November 1st, 9 a.m. when our office opens. All applications that will be received are dated and time-stamped. So because again, this is a first come, first serve, that's where our online system has the capability of confirming the time and date that it was submitted. And as well here in person, we'll be actually dating and time stamping. Any incomplete applications will be ineligible. So there's a series of personal documents, which I'll share in a second, that have to be submitted with your application. And we will be pulling a credit report for all the applicants that are eligible to confirm exactly what the status of their credit scores and debts are, especially to verify how much debt do you owe compared to your limit or compared to your income. So what personal documents? We'll come back to that question. Personal documents needed. So we want pay stubs covering the last 30 days. And again, this is the most recent pay stubs. We don't want something from July, from March, most recent 30-day pay stubs. A copy of the tax return, just the federal section for 2023 with any W-2s and 1099s. If you have any other income, child support, Social Security award letters, IHSS, we also want copies of those. If you're self-employed and the income is not declared on your personal taxes, if you're filing separate corporation taxes, we would need a copy of that tax return with any schedules, as well as a copy of the business license for 2 years and a current profit and loss statement year to date. We would also require 3 bank statements. Again, the most recent ones. We don't want to see bank statements for March and April. We want the last 3 months, the most current ones. If there's retirement statements, we also want to see those, a copy of Social Security or an I-10 letter, because again, we will be pulling credit, so we do need that verification. And then a government issued ID, whether it's a driver's license, a permanent resident card, a consular card, or a foreign country passport. But we want to be able to verify the person applying with identification, and then for purposes of the credit report, having an I-10 or Social Security number so we can generate that. Any questions? In the credit? Yes.
If you're married, do you need this for both people? If this one's applying for it's like the income is like house.
Yeah. So if you're married, yes, we would want for both. Mhm.
Okay.
Let me go online here. Is this program ongoing? So as of right now, this is a one per se, one and done, because we don't know about the funding source being renewed. We're hoping that by us being able to show the need and the success of the program, that, and this funding is coming from the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco. So we're hoping by being able to show them that evidence, they will be funding it. There are other agencies that have used the funding in other ways. This is our way of doing it. So again, reporting back to them will hopefully bring more funds. So we're hopeful, so we'll see.
Do you have an estimate of how many of these?
Yeah. So in this case, how much funding do we have? Right now it stands at 30,000 is what we have. So it unfortunately is limited.
If you go for
Yeah. So where again, it's right now it stands at that point. It's not to say that they wouldn't provide us with more, which will hopefully allow for more applicants. It also depends on the pool of people of what they're requesting. So we don't really have an exact figure of how many people will be enrolled, but we do at least have that starting point. All right, so just to kind of, again, summarize the program in itself, we have the 4 workshops that we'll be hosting either here in person or online. Once we have our cohort together, we'll take a survey and kind of see how the majority of you would like to attend these workshops. And then we're going to have the one-on-one appointments once every quarter, at minimum 2 appointments. We're going to pay back the loan on time on the, what day of the month? Yeah, the 5th of the month. And then we will have just some very short surveys for our first appointment that you would fill out, and then at the very end of your loan term, just to see how your feelings with money have changed. But 2 very short, brief questionnaires there. Yeah.
So
So applications will be received on the 1st. We're hoping then by the 5th to have an idea of who is eligible just based on their personal documents submitted. And then from there, our lending team will be helping in evaluating the credit report and doing final approval. So we're hoping within a 2-week time frame from the 1st.
So if 5th is the deadline?
Well, the 5th is what we've reserved. We're anticipating, with it being a first come, first served basis, the majority that would be interested in applying will be done. We will have received applications by, the end of day on the 1st, potentially. But anyone that comes in afterwards, we'll still be accepting them. And then I have reserved a time for the 5th to look over applications, giving a weekend over to allow people to submit. And then I will be working with our lending team to get everything hopefully done within that next week. Yes,
So the list of documents, do you have that with the application?
it will be. The list of documents will be included with the application. Absolutely. We don't expect you guys to memorize this. This is from the orientation today. Definitely. Yes.
How about a copy of the deck? Are you able to send these out to the appendix?
I don't know. That's a good question for my manager. Can we send a copy of this presentation? Yes, so we are recording this. Yeah, so all of the information from the PowerPoint will be included on the application, whether it's here in office that you're picking it up or the online version. All the details will be there. We can also PDF email it to you if needed, if you would prefer a PDF email copy of it. But either way, all the details are included there as well.
But you said we will get the invitation to apply as we attend the session. Email. With the address.
So if we'll have an email going out, so this application website, we won't have a follow-up email going out with this information, but you can take a picture of it so that way it's there. You can always also call us back after and have us email it to you. It's just with obviously online, we have a pretty good sized class and sending emails is not as easy.
I didn't take
But yeah, so, and that information again will also be on the printed application where you can follow the link there. So even by picking up a printed application, which for our online folks, I'll be dropping in into the chat in a bit. It also has that link. All right, so went against my word of saying we're going to save the questions for the end, and we just did them as we went along. I think it worked out much better. So I changed it along. So just again to reiterate, once applications are received on the 1st, I will personally be reviewing them on the 5th, and hopefully within a week from that timeline, we'll get a confirmation from our lending team of who's approved, and we will actually be calling and notifying everyone. So everyone will get some kind of message. Question?
And then the fund, like, for whatever.
We will ask you that question on the
Oh,
application.
what your
What are
plan
you
is.
planning to use the funds for? But yes, it's totally up to you to decide. Me personally, as a financial coach, I would hope it would be a good financial choice, but it's totally up to you guys. I know
Sure.
everyone has different needs, so
Sure.
it's totally up to you.
There's a, not really too ashamed to say this, Chapter 7 disqualified automatically.
No, as long as you didn't just file it in the last 6 months, then you're okay.
It's discharged.
Oh, discharge is fine. It's just as long as you
Okay.
haven't filed a bankruptcy in the last 6 months, that's the only limitation we have.
And could you please, sorry, this will be the last one.
No, absolutely.
Your approach to Uber Lyft income. How
For
do you
Uber Lyft
look at
income,
that? Because we only get 1099 once a year.
Uh-huh.
And 23, it shows we lost, but
Mhm,
you know, this year may be different. So how do you
Yeah.
evaluate that, or is this too early?
No, and it's a great question, actually. So if it's, I'm going to call it unconventional income, per se, where you're kind of a contractor, you're receiving the income in itself as like a monthly deposit in this case, or it could be just a check. And every month it varies.
Change.
Right. So in this case, that's where the profit and loss statement comes in, where I know with ride sharing, you have the ability to break down how much you received per month or the year to date. So in that case, if you can create that year to date profit and loss with how much has come in, what were expenses, that will give us the income for this, along with the 2023 tax filings. I know a business license doesn't apply for that. So a letter of explanation for any of the documents on this list that you're not able to provide, in this case would be ride sharing does not provide business license. At least I don't think so. Last I checked, I don't think ride sharing has business license.
No.
Yeah, so that would be just a letter of explanation of why that wasn't submitted with it.
Yeah, and then your expenses, we have to provide all the lunch receipts or
No,
repairs.
this is where, again, that profit and loss statement in itself, that's where you're documenting what came in, what went out, and you're certifying that that is true to the best of your abilities.
Thank you.
And so this would apply for whether it's ride sharing or like Instacart, Grubhub,
Sidekicks.
Uber, yeah. So any of those alternative sources of income. Any other questions?
So can we make additional payments about months, like every 2 weeks?
You can, yes. So again, our minimum term will be for 6 months, but you can make extra payments, pay it off sooner, as long as the minimum payment's made by the 5th of the month. That's the important part.
And is it one application like household or would
You can pick up 2 applications because, so I will say, the application, once you receive it, looks intimidating. It looks intimidating. Only because it's both in English and Spanish in one, because we didn't want to confuse people with separate ones. So it looks intimidating, but it's not. But because of that, we only have the space for one person. So if you're applying with a spouse or a partner, then just have them fill out their own with yours, and we'll bring them together.
So individually, each spouse fills out one application.
Yes.
But it's still for one.
Yeah, so in
household.
this case, like the section that the spouse wouldn't have to fill out would be, for example, how much are you applying for on the loan and what do you plan to use it for? Because again, it's only one loan per household, so we're going to assume then, in this case, it's the same goal in mind, the same dollar amount that would be requested. So that would be the only limitation to a spouse applying, is just one per household that we can provide, one loan.
What if I don't want to include my life and responsibility section of this loan? I just want to apply
That's fine.
as an individual, even
Well-
though our taxes are married jointly.
So we'll still require, so even though maybe the spouse will be included on the application, we'll still require the income because you are married.
She
in this
doesn't.
case. We'll have to go back to our funder, the Federal Home Loan Bank, and see if she doesn't want to provide it, what can we do? Because actually that hasn't been a question that's come up in the different meetings we've had with them. So
There's a requirement to have 2 incomes.
no, it's not required to have 2 incomes, but in this case, it's the household, because you're married, and then taxes would show the combined incomes. That's why they would require, they do require at the moment, the household income be provided with the application. So if she's not willing to provide that, we'd have to go back to our funder and see what they'll tell us. And so again, with we will be pulling credit reports. Unfortunately, there's no way around them. It will be a hard pull. So it does slightly affect the score. It's about a 10% impact on score. But again, this is where us working together in our one-on-ones, we're going to be looking at that report, ways to improve it, also ways to offset that negative. So there's different strategies that we can take to actually regain all points back, let alone time in itself is going to help the credit to regain the points. And what we're looking for on the credit report is just any serious delinquencies, any serious late payments, any collections, what's the extent of it? How long ago did it happen? How long ago were those late payments? And then how much debt do you hold compared to your actual gross income? What's the minimum payments versus your gross income? Yeah. All right, so we do have the application, Nick, the application. Nick has the applications here. So if you'd like to pick one up, that is actually, we're finishing early. I'm not sure if anyone has any other questions. If you'd like to approach me here in person separately, or for my online crowd, if you have any particular questions, you're able to send them directly to the host and I can see those.
So you're taking your picture. Again,
Yeah.
All right, so for my online crowd, I am gonna drop in the copy of the PowerPoint, sorry, copy of the application. Give me 1 second to bring that in.
So are you saying that that's it for the?
The orientation, yes, this is it for the orientation. For my online crowd, stick around. I'm gonna actually drop in the applications. Give me a second, but for my in-person people, yes.
Thank you for.
Unless you have any other questions here, feel free to just approach myself or Nick. We're here to help you.
Thanks a lot.
All right, so for my online folks, again, the application has been dropped into the chat. All right, so online folks, again, if you're seeing the chat, you will see the PDF document in there. Again, if anybody still has questions, I'm still here to be able to answer them. If you have a particular personal question, you're able to send me a message per se privately through the host and panelist. So you can just choose two and select host and panelist. All right, so I am dropping a copy of the PDF in the chat. Give me 1 moment and I will actually drop in the link for the actual online application so that way you have access to just clicking on it. So give me 1 quick sec to copy and paste that over. All right, so you should be able to see the link on there. If anyone is joining over the phone, in this case, you are not able to see the PDF or the link, but just shoot us an email through the contact us at VCCDC and let us know that you joined online over the phone only, and we can get that little matter fixed there. If in case you're having any difficulties in actually downloading the PDF, you can also follow the link that I put in the chat there. And that is just a mirrored image of the PDF.
So whatever.